My name is Amy McQuire. I'm a Darumbal and South Sea Islander journalist from Rockhampton in Queensland, and currently been undertaking for the past 2 weeks the Australia Institute Writers in Residence program. So the project largely stemmed from a case I've been working on for the past 3 or 4 years about the wrongful conviction of an Aboriginal man in my hometown called Kevin Henry. Here at the Australia Institute, I've really been looking backwards at cases like the death in custody of Mulrunji Doomadgee and seeing how the portrayal of Aboriginal protesters as threats have still reverberated and continue to have material consequences in the present. There's a strong personal connection. We recently just got Kevin Henry out of jail earlier this year in January, so now we're pushing for his exoneration, and I really felt like I was led to his story because my dad had known him for a very long time and no one had really told his story before. No one really believed his claims of innocence until we started looking into it. And so looking at the case of Kevin Henry, we don't just look at the issue of wrongful convictions, but a whole host of other issues when Aboriginal people come into contact with the justice system. The other very important aspect of this case for me is that the victim in the case was an Aboriginal woman, so it's also about the dehumanisation of Aboriginal women and the way our bodies are read as disposable and the violence wrought upon our bodies is inevitable, and how that contributes to the over-policing and incarceration and over-surveillance of Aboriginal people as well. And so for me it was the lack of worth shown towards the victim's life that also led to this enduring injustice. So a whole host of issues, but particularly around the silencing of Aboriginal voices, I think is one of the key themes. What I found really helpful about spending some time down here in Canberra is that it's just given me a lot of time to think, and as a single mother and currently undertaking my PhD, I often don't get a lot of time to think, especially in this COVID period. So that's been really helpful, really. It's just been the thinking time, going back, writing a lot, but then editing it back and figuring out what I actually want to say. It's sort of like a bit of a luxury because you don't get that time a lot of the time. So I feel like that I've had a couple of breakthroughs in relation to where I'm going with the book.
The bottom 20% get nothing. They're really unfair tax cuts.
People want to see much stronger action from the government when it comes to climate change.
It's no coincidence that we have a wages crisis in Australia.
Transitioning to net zero emissions, it doesn't seem like there's much room for gas.